Hello, it's Mason here with today's October series video. Now, the series, I've been, working around a specific creepypasta's Jeff Giller. Now, I was going to originally read the reboot, but I decided that would take multiple parts because of... So I thought I would just read the 2012 version. I was also going to read the original Jeffrey Hodeck, but I think that's only in a video, not a story. So, let's go on. Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. Jeff and his brother Lou couldn't complain though. A better house, what was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, Hello, she said. I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you. I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son. She turns around, calling her son over. Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. Well, said Jeff, Margaret, and this is my husband Peter and my two sons Jeff and Lou. They each introduced themselves. Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said, "Love to." When Jeff and his family were done packing, Jeff went up to his mom. Mom, to some kid's birthday party. If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid. Jeff, said his mother, we just moved here and we should show that we want to spend time with. Now if we're going to that party, now we're going to that party and that's final. Started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whether his mom said something, it was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there looking at his ceiling with a feeling. No, not so much pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as just some random feeling. He heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it. Walked downstairs to get breakfast and get ready for school. As he sat there eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain. But once again he dismissed it. As he and Lou finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus. They sat there waiting for the bus, and then all of a sudden some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above. They both jumped back and surprised. Hey, what the hell? The kid landed and turned back. He picked the skateboard up and caught it with his hands. The kid seemed about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears an Aeropostale shirt and jeans. Well, it looks like we got some new meat. Suddenly, two other kids appeared. One was super skinny, and the other was huge. Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there's Keith. Jeff and Lou looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have, and They looked over at the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard. This kid exercised since he was crawling. And I, said the first kid, I'm Now, for all the kids in the neighborhood, there's a small price for bus fare if you catch my... Lou stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes, when one of his friends pulled a knife on him. I'd hoped you'd be more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way. Kid walked up to Lou and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly sensation. He stood up, but Lou gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored and walked up to the kid. "Listen here, you punk. Give me back my brother's wallet, or else." Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife. "Oh, and what will you do?" Just as he finished the sentence, popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid and broke it. Randy screamed, and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed for Jeff, but Jeff was too. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. He dropped the knife and fell to the ground, screaming. Troy rushed him too, but he didn't need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach, and Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. He did nothing but look in amazement at Jeff. "Jeff, how'd you?" was all he could say. They saw they knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing. So they started running as fast as they could. Back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. Jeff and Lou made it to school, and they did not. All they did was sit and listen. Lou just thought of that as his brother beating up as a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something. He got that feeling. He felt how powerful it was. The urge to just hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that feeling go away and stayed away for the entire day of school. Even as he walked home due to the whole stop and how he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore, he felt happy. When he got home, how his day was, and he said it was in a somewhat ominous voice. It was a wonderful day. The next morning, knocked at his front door. He walked down to find 2 police officers at the door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look. "These officers tell me that you attacked 3 kids. That wasn't regular. That they were stabbed. Stabbed, son!" Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother through. "Mom, they said they were the ones who pulled the knives on me," and one of the cops. "We found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you." Now what does that tell us? Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Lou had been attacked, but then there was no proof that it had not been them who attacked first. They couldn't say they weren't fleeing because be told they were, so Jeff couldn't defend himself or Lou. Son called out. Jeff couldn't do it since it was he who beat up all the kids. "Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids." Lou tried to hold me. He couldn't stop me. But he couldn't stop me. The cop looked at his partner and they both nodded. "Well, kid, looks like a year." "Wait!" says Lou. They all looked up to see him holding a knife. Pulled their guns and locked them on Lou. "It was me. I beat up those little punks. I have the marks to prove." He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle. "Son, just put down the knife," said the officer. Lou held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and... "No, Lou, it was me. I did it." Jeff had tears running down his face. "Always trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away." The police led Lou out of the patrol car. "Lou, tell them it was me. Tell them I was the one who beat up those..." Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulders. "Jeff, please, you don't have to lie. We know it's Lou. Stop." Jeff watched helplessly as the car speeds off with Lou inside. A few minutes later, Dad pulled into the driveway, seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong. Son, what was it? Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the as Jeff wept in the driveway. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back into the house. They were both shocked, sad, and disappointed. He couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Lou when it was his fault. He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by with no word from Lou and Jake. No friends to hang out with, nothing but sadness and guilt. That was until Sunday, when Jeff is woken up by his mother with a happy sunshiny face. "Jeff, it's the day," she said, and let light flood into the room. What's today?" He stirs awake. "Why, it's Billy's party." He is not fully awake. "Mom, you're joking, right? You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after there was a long pause." "We both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days." Rest. Jeff's mother walked out of the room and downstairs to get herself ready. He picked out a random shirt and a pair of jeans and walked downstairs. He saw his mother and father all in a dress and his father in a suit. He thought, why would they ever wear such fancy clothes to a party? "Son, is that all you're going to wear?" said Jeff's mom. "You're wearing too much," he said. His mother pushed down the feeling to yell at him and hid it with a smile. "Now, Jeff, I may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression." Jeff grunted and went back to his room. "I don't have clothes," he yelled downstairs. "Just pick out something," called his mother. He looked around the closet for what he would call fancy. He found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions. He couldn't find a shirt to go with it, though. He found only striped and patterned shirts, none of which go with dress pants. Finally, he found a white hoodie and put. "You're wearing that?" they both said. His mother looked at her watch. "Time to change. Let's go," she said as she herded Jeff and his father out the door. The car was Barbara's and Billy's. They knocked on the door, and at it appeared that Barbara. Just like his parents, impressed. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults, no kids. "The kids are out in the yard. How about you go and meet some of them?" said Barbara. Jeff walked outside to a yard full of kids. They were running around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. He might as well Toys R Us. Suddenly a kid came up to him, handing him a toy gun and a hat. "Hey, wanna play?" No, kid. I'm way too old for this stuff." The kid looked at him with that weird puppy dog face. "Please," said the kid. "Fine," said Jeff. He put on the hat and started to shoot at the kids. At first, he thought it was totally ridiculous, but then he started to actually have fun. It might not have been super cool, but it was the first time he had done something that took his mind off of Lou. So he played with the kids. He heard a noise. A weird rolling noise. Then it hit him. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence, their skateboards. Jeff dropped the fake gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked at Jeff with a burning hatred. "Hello." "Well, we have some unfinished business." Jeff saw his bruised nose. "I think we're even. You get my brother sent to JDC. Angry look in his eyes. "Oh no, I don't go for even, I go for winning. You may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today. As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell to the ground. Jeff hit the nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and headbutted him. Jeff rushed Randy off of him, and both to their feet. Kids were screaming, and parents were running out of the house. Troy and Keith both pulled out guns. No one interrupts or guts will fly. Randy pulled a knife on Jeff and stabbed it into his shoulder. Jeff screamed and fell. Randy started kicking him in the face. After 3 kicks, Jeff grabbed his foot and twisted Randy to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him. Need some help? He picks up Jeff with the collar and throws him through the patio door. As Jeff tries to stand, he is kicked down to the ground. Lee starts kicking Jeff until he starts to cough up blood. Come on, Jeff. He picks Jeff up and throws him into the kitchen. Randy sees a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass. Fight! He throws Jeff back into the living room. Come on, Jeff. Look at me. He up, his brother riddled with blood. I was the one who got your brother sent to JDC, and you were gonna sit and let him rot in there for a whole year? You should be ashamed. Jeff starts to get up. Oh, finally. Jeff is now to his feet, blood and vodka on his face. Once again, he gets that strange feeling, in which he hasn't felt for a while. Finally, he's up. Randy runs at Jeff. That's when it happens. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is destroyed. Thinking is gone. All he can do is kill. He grabs Randy and pile drives him into the ground and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy's heart to stop. As Randy gasps for breath, Jeff hammers down on him, punch after punch. Blood gushes from Randy's body until he takes one foot. Dies. Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith. They easily break from their gaze and point their guns at Jeff. Jeff sees the guns trained on him, and as he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him, each shot missing. The stairs. He hears Troy and Keith follow up behind as they let out their final rounds of bullets. Jeff ducks into the bathroom. He grabs the towel rack and rips it off the wall. Troy and Keith race in, knives ready. Swings the knife at Jeff, who backs away and bangs the towel rack into Troy's face. Troy goes, and now all that is left is Keith. He's more agile than Troy though, and ducks when Jeff swings. He dropped the knife and grabbed Jeff by the neck. He pushed him into the wall. A thing of bleach fell down on top of him. It burnt both of them, and they both started to scream. Jeff wiped his eyes as the best he could. He pulled back the towel rack to Keith's head. As he laid there bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile. What's so? Asked Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on. What's funny, he said, is that you're alcohol. Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. As soon as the flame made contact, flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach. Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. He tried to roll out of the fire, but the alcohol had made him a walking inferno. He ran down the hall and fell down the stairs. Everyone started screaming as now a man on fire dropped to the ground nearly dead. The last thing Jeff saw was his mother, and the other extinguished the flame. That's when he passed out. Jeff woke up. He had a cast wrapped around his face. He couldn't see anything but felt the cast on his shoulder and stitches all over. He tried to stand but realized that there was some tube in his arm. And when he tried to get up, it fell out, and a nurse rushed in. I don't think you can get out of, she said as she put him back in the bed and reinstalled the tube. Jeff sat there with no vision what his surroundings were. Finally, after hours, he heard his mother. Honey, are you okay? couldn't answer though. His face was covered and was unable to speak. She asked. Jeff couldn't answer though. His face was covered and unable to speak. Oops. Oh, honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the Randy confessed of trying to attack you, they decided to let you go. This made Jeff almost bolt, remembering the tube coming out of his arm. He'll be out by tomorrow, and then you two will be able to... Jeff's mother hugs Jeff and says her goodbyes. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. Then came the day when his bandages were to be removed. His family members were what he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover over his face was on. Let's hope for the best, said the doctor. He quickly pulls the cloth, let the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face. Lou and Jeff's dad struck at his face. What happened to my face? Jeff says. He rushed out of bed and ran to the bathroom. The parents saw the cause of the distress. It's horrible. His lips were burnt to a deep shade of red. His face was turned to a pure white color, and his singed from brown to black. He slowly put his hand to his face. It had a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family and back at the mirror. Jeff, Lou said, it's not that bad, said Jeff. It's perfect. His family was equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents' eye and hand were twitching. Jeff. Okay, I've never felt more happy. Look at me. It's perfect with me. He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it, looking in the... What caused this? Well, you may recall when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind, his sanity. Now he was left as a crazy killing machine. That is, his parents didn't know. Doctor, said Jeff's mom, is my son alright, in the head? Oh yes, this is for patients that have taken very large amounts of painkillers. If his behavior doesn't change in a few weeks, give him a psychological test. Oh, thank you, doctor. Jeff's mother went over. Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go home. Jeff looked away from the mirror, his face still formed into a great smile. Okay, mommy. His mother looked at him, took him to get his clothes. This is what came in, said the lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked at the black dress pants and white hoodie her son wore. Now they were clean of blood and stitched together. Jeff's mother led him into his room and made him put. Then they left, not knowing that this was their final day of life. Later that night, to a sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over to see what it was. In the mirror, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks. Jeff asked his mother. Jeff looked over to his mother. I couldn't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Forever. Jeff's mother noticed his eyes ringed in black. Jeff! His eyes were seemingly never closing. I couldn't see my face. I got tired and my eyes... I burned out the eyelids so I could forever see myself. My new face. Jeff's mother to back away, seeing that her son was going insane. Aren't I beautiful? Yes, son. Yes, you are. Let me go get Daddy so I can see your face. She ran into the room and shook Jeff's dad from his sleep. Honey, get the gun. She stopped as she saw Jeff in the doorway holding a knife. Bobby, you lied. That's the last thing they hear as Jeff rushes them with the knife, cutting. His brother Lou woke up. Startled, he didn't hear anything else. He just shut his eyes and tried to go back to sleep. He was on the border of slumber, feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up before Jeff's hand covered his mouth. He slowly raised the knife, ready to plunge it into Lou. Lou thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip. Jeff said, "Just go to sleep." Alright. That's the end of the Jeff the Killer story from 2012 and the end of the series. Please make sure to like and subscribe and comment and share if you can. And I will see you guys next Tuesday for our regular scheduled programming.